1 second.
We are live. I love it. 1 second.
Again, I'm going to start this again off with live TV, folks.
I love this. This is live. 1 second. And there's the swivel chair going. And we are live.
Welcome. Are you there?
Second
Emma.
episode. We're just waiting on Emma.
Yeah, welcome, everybody. Welcome back to our little corner of YouTube. So my name is Sophie.
Oh, I'm Emma. Hello.
Mel.
And we are Women Who Talk Film. So we are here this week talking about a little film that's been released on Netflix this week, literally a couple of days ago, I believe, called Desperados. And we have a little blurb for you here. So
this is what it looks like.
Yeah, so after drunkenly sending a cringeworthy email, hopeless romantic Wes, who is played by the wonderful Nasim Pedrad, heads to Mexico with her best friends to erase the note before her new love reads it. Talk about heavy stuff, people.
I know, right? So much drama. But I loved it. So I was watching it earlier today, and I didn't realize it was a new addition to Netflix. When what about this? What about this? I was like, shit, they just added this like less than a week ago.
Like literally they released it on like Friday or maybe even yesterday. Something
very
ridiculous.
Good find, Emma.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I just turned on Netflix and it was there.
And it was like, boom, this is new.
I just want to let our viewers know that this is some real technical stuff that goes into producing this show. We really, we have this real streamlined approach.
We don't know what
we're
doing, basically.
So, folks,
cheers to that.
First impressions. What are we thinking? What's a sentence to sum up how we feel about this movie? Emma, go.
Oh, this is how it started last week, right?
I know. Yeah, no. I like this one a lot more than last week's. I think the comedy was like at a good pace and stuff. I think there was definitely scenes in there that again weren't really needed. Like the chapstick comedy, I think is what they call it.
Right.
Especially like the dolphin scene, which was really not necessary. Like it didn't add anything to the film or anything. And also, it's like, this is an editorial thing. Oh, hello. Hello, the old guard.
Sorry, I just pressed the wrong button.
I was going to say, also the editorial thing that I really hated and was not necessary again was the animation, like the tech, like the phone screen.
That's such a thing these days, though. A lot of British shows do that at the moment, and it's really
while they were writing. Sorry,
but the thing,
while they were writing the email, is that what you're referring to?
No. The blurby things that came up when they put this. It was like they put the phone screen up on the screen so that you could see what was happening on the phone.
Okay, yeah.
Technically,
but in television. There's a reason for that. It's because they don't talk about it. So we see it as a viewer. We see what's being written because there's no talk, there's no dialogue. But in this film, every time there was something on the screen, she said it. So it was like pointless because she's like, she's texting her boyfriend, and then 2 seconds later she goes, "Oh yeah, I'm just texting Steve because blah blah blah." And it's like, we don't need to know that you're texting him because we saw it, or we don't need to see it because we now know that like there was always, it just didn't need to be there.
It's because you're a filmmaker and it's not no, but I think you're totally right, and I agree with you. I didn't pick up on it didn't bother me, but now that you're saying it, that makes perfect sense, and why it also bothers you, because it kind of gives you the same information twice. It's not efficient filmmaking. And I'm usually a fan of seeing like the text messages while they're being written. I think that's kind of really quirky storytelling. I love that people are doing that more and more. And I think I
found it gets old very quickly, personally.
I know, but I'm still a fan of it, especially if it's being used to give you information you're otherwise not getting. Like everything I've seen searching, like 2 years ago or whenever that was, with that Asian dad whose daughter goes missing, and everything is told. That's so good. Everything is being told just by you looking at devices, basically. So I don't mind that part of storytelling at all. I actually it kind of makes it refreshes and livens up the screen for me, if that makes sense, as long as it's not being overused.
I think the only time that I've really enjoyed that sort of use of technology within film, I don't know if you guys have watched Modern Family, but
Not
they
yet.
did a special where it was as if you were in the computer of one of the characters and like you were just on their Mac desktop. So it was per FaceTiming, writing emails, and it was all done from that perspective. And because it was a fresh take on it and you came from a different point of view, I quite liked it.
Yes.
But I feel like they have started to overuse that text thing now. But that's just me. Anyway, we are getting a little bit off tangent. Mel, what are your first impressions?
Well, we always go on tangents. It's kind
True,
of
but I want your first impressions of this movie.
So my first impression was my pre-watch first impression was, oh, here we go again. It's another one of these films. Okay, you know, easy entertainment. But every now and then I want something to like, bite into and get something. And then I started watching it. And as I was watching it, I was like, this is really good. And the characterizations are really good. The writing is really good. It's really funny. There's a lot of stuff that changes. You know, it's not always on the same trajectory. There's lots of little details there that really surprised me. I want to say I didn't know any of the actors, but that's not true. The blonde lady, I'd seen her in shitloads of stuff.
Anna Camp.
But the lead, what was her name again? Nassim.
Nassim Pedrad.
Nassim Pedrad. I don't really watch SNL, so I was not aware of her. I'd never really noticed her. I think she might have been in the new Aladdin film, but I'm not sure. I might mix her up with someone. But she's fantastic. And it's just so, the entire film was just so funny, even though to a certain extent it was mega predictable. But it fully embraced that. It also went stereotypical ways. And it was just so much fun watching her because it's so overly melodramatic, but in an easily digestible way, if that makes sense. It's not like the same shit you see left, right, and center. It's like they really got to the point of things and only kept the best stuff, so to speak. So I thoroughly enjoyed it from start to finish, even though a lot of predictable stuff happens. And I was like, I just love her. She's horrendously, stupidly romantic and just so superficial in certain ways where I was like,
great.
Happens to you, you deserve it. But on the other hand, she's just so adorable and charming, and you're like, I kind of feel for you.
Yeah.
For me, can I just say the lead really reminded me of a young Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen her before. Like I didn't watch her in SNL and stuff, but like
so in this that actually came up in a review. Yeah.
Yeah, that is also one
saying she was very much, it felt like a young Sandra Bullock. A couple of reviews have said that. So
that was my takeaway at the end of the film, that I was like, it was like a new modernized version of While You Were Sleeping. It really reminded me of that movie, and I love that movie.
I don't think I've seen
I'm not seeing that.
That's like mega old. I think that's like 20 years old or something.
That's not mega old, but okay.
But to some people it is. But that's one of the things that I actually wrote down that I wanted to talk about. It's like after I watched the film, I was really thinking, it's like you're watching While You Were Sleeping, and I love that film. Cute. It's just cute. It's a cute film.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was. I struggled at the beginning with it. I really did. I'm sorry, I'm getting sunlight now from outside. My lighting's terrible. I can't.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I struggled a bit at the beginning, and especially for me, knowing quite a lot of the big players in this movie. Like I've watched Nassim. I've watched hours of YouTube clips of Nassim Pedrad in SNL, and I love her to bits. And I've seen Anna Camp in Pitch Perfect, and I just adored her.
Oh, she was in True Blood. That's
True Blood, yeah. I mean, that's not my sort of thing, but I saw her in Pitch Perfect. I adored her in that, and Nick, not Nick from New Girl. I can't remember what his name was, but
yeah, I know you mean.
Yeah. So the main love interest, I can't remember the actor's name, and I feel terrible. Hang on,
the black guy.
Yeah.
He
Lamorne Morris. Yes. So Lamorne Morris, who's been in New Girl. Like I knew all of these people coming into this movie, so I feel like I did harbor a bit of expectation running on that, as you do when you come into movies like this. And I did struggle a bit at the beginning.
Which part?
I think it was the whole email scene really just didn't do it for me. I found it just a little bit heavy overacted. I felt like that could have been done better. Personally, you know, let me get my views out here. Come on, man. It's different.
I love that scene. I just thought it was too long. That's all. It was very long.
Well, see, that's the thing. It dragged for me, and that soured it for me in general.
Yeah, it's a bit long.
But once they got to Mexico, and like shit really started getting exciting, that is when I was like, you know what, this movie's actually pretty good. And it's when Lamorne Morris's character comes in. And properly, you know, you have the blind date bit at the beginning, which was hilarious. I loved that. I thought that was really good. I will be using the idea of automatic out on any dates I ever have in the future. And I won't tell them that I'm using it, but they don't have to know that.
He just goes like, "Oh, this is my automatic out."
This is my automatic out. Goodbye. You are the weakest link. But yeah, as once his character came in, I think it just really got better. I think he didn't carry the movie by any means. Nassim really did a wonderful job, especially in the latter part of the movie. But Anna Camp, actually, I found her sarcastic character, like Brooke, was hilarious.
Awesome. She's so good.
Yeah.
We'll get into why she's so good as well later on. But yeah, no, I think it was personally for me that was it just picked up towards the end.
That thing you're insinuating, that was unexpected. I did not see
that. I did not expect it. So
even
from now on, we are not spoiler free. If you don't want to be spoiled on this movie, as much as we don't want you to turn off and come watch later. And come Marvel with us. So yeah, basically.
Because Sophie, tell them this is not just live. This is being recorded. You can check this out on the.
Well, no, you can come check this out later. That's what that's what I said. So of course the big thing for us as the gays that we are, I don't think it was the big thing. Was the fact that we got a little bit of rep in this movie.
Can I just take this?
Yeah, no, please run with it. I just wanted to bring it up.
One of the things, I don't know if you had the same impression, but you know, when this whole starts out, she has a job interview at like a Catholic school or something, and she starts talking about masturbation and sex and stuff, and you're like, yeah, she's not going to get this job, right? So she's sitting at her best friend's place, two women that she's just talked about, going, oh, my life sucks and I'm not having a job and whatever. And for whatever reason, the first few minutes I was watching that scene, I thought that her two best friends, that they were a couple. And I don't know why.
Two best friends, like, lesbian.
Yeah, like Anna Camp in like her awesome suit, and I was like, oh, right, I can tell like power lesbian things are going on here, and the other one is like the homebody and whatever. And then when her boyfriend or husband comes in, I was like, wait, what's going on?
Genuinely didn't know that he existed until he came in, and I was like,
yeah, he came in.
Wait, that's a man. But okay.
Who's
cool,
he?
whatever.
Why is he here? And they're together, so the others are not together. And fuck me,
I didn't get the impression that they were together. I did get a bit of a. It's like Gina in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Did anyone else get a little bit of a gay vibe? Like literally, that was my sort of thought. But I was like, no, push it down. This is a mainstream Netflix movie. You're not going to get this rep.
And that's exactly what it is. Because I read her as slightly gay. So when later on, what you're like talking about now is like when our little representation happens. I was like, oh, okay, so they're making her, you know, at least bi-curious or something like that.
I think it was just like a I don't care about labels type deal.
It was like, let's go on this adventure. And she was like, oh, not saying it, but the way she played it afterwards is like, oh.
So just for clarification on that one, I'm twirling a notebook. Just on clarification, basically, the other best friend, Kaylee, wants to go to this shaman's place, Angel de la Paz, you know, in the middle of Mexico. You know, Brooke thinks, oh, this is just some sort of money scheme to get people, you know, fraud people and stuff. And they go to the shaman's place, and Brooke just goes, wait, the shaman's a woman? I thought this was just a man defrauding people. And then the shaman says she can't help Kaylee with what she wants, which is why they went. But apparently she can help Brooke, and Brooke's like, well, this is bullshit. I mean, come on, look at this place.
Was the shaman, was she played by Heather Graham? She looked like Heather Graham.
I think it was.
It
was Heather Graham.
I know you. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is nice because she's been in multiple LGBT films and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice that they, that she was in this as well, playing this character. It was quite good.
No, I mean, long story short, they end up like making out and other stuff,
and
it's great.
And Graham goes down on her, just saying. But anyways.
I mean, Anna Camp was clearly having a great time. I mean,
it was just like the intimate eye gazing, eyes locking, smiling.
Oh, that made me so uncomfortable until I knew that was going to happen. I was like, oh God, I'm exactly the same. I can't deal with all this eye contact. It's not okay.
Is she gonna? Oh yeah, she is. Oh yeah, they are. Is that? Oh,
I was just like, literally, like Anna Camp went in for the kill, and I was like, oh damn! Okay.
Damn. Yeah, exactly.
I knew that shit was gonna happen from the moment they were sitting there. I was like, this is gonna be like
can you predict the future?
Sexual, like a tension thing or whatever. Not between them, but I think like bringing her issues out and like all of that shit. I was like,
yeah, bearing it all, the vulnerability. They were
let go of your dirtbag husband.
Yeah,
have
definitely.
sex with me instead.
So yeah, it was absolutely hilarious. So we didn't even know that there was any kind of like LGBTQ tick box for this film, but there was, which is fantastic, which was like added.
As much as I don't really want to call it, normalize the idea of a tick box.
No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but I think it was
a bit
I
of
liked that.
content.
What I quite liked about it felt quite natural coming into the story. It didn't feel like they were trying to push. It's not like we're gonna shove. It's when all the these straight white guys come into the comments and say you're shoving this down our throats. Don't do that. And
but that's what I mean.
That was pretty natural.
That's why I wanted to mention that I kind of read her as gay the first time I saw her. So I didn't think that when she then all of a sudden kissed the shaman that it was so out of character or something. I was like, well, there were some vibes that I was picking up on or something. There was something. I'm not just making everyone gay because I want to, as much as I would like to. But so it was nice that there was just this tiny little bit at the end, and it wasn't important. It could have easily ended up on the cutting room floor, but it was just it was a nice little add-on, and it's nice to see a bit of representation in a film where I seriously did not expect it.
I mean, yeah, even I don't really think that would have, because it became part of something that was integral to Brooke's development as a character towards the end of the movie. They couldn't have left that on the cutting room floor. It wouldn't have made sense without it, which I think was good, and that's why I think that's why it felt so natural. But anyway, coming out of it, who were your sort of faves in this movie when it came to acting? What really jumped out for you guys?
Well, I really like the lead, who I had never seen before. Yeah, I like as for me, like being the first thing that I watched with her in it. Obviously, I thought she was really good. I'm trying to think if there was any problems, like things that stood out. Apart from that dolphin scene, which I thought was fucking ridiculous. It's like ridiculous and pointless. Like they could have. I don't know. Yeah, no, that was it. I mean, obviously Anna Camp is like fucking amazing, but the other actress was in the whole film, whereas Anna was like only in her scene. So yeah. I
mean, I've got to give a shout out to Lamar Morris here, because I mean, I'm going to remind myself that Sean was his name. Was his character's name. Sean was. I just thought that characterization was so good.
He was so sweet.
He was nice, but he also wasn't. He also just went with the flow of things and knew how to carry some banter without it being super harmful to someone, which is what you want. My only issue, and I'm spoiling the end right now, so just another warning there. I personally thought they needed to go. They'd had this whole scene where Nasim Pedra's character is going through the motions, saying, "Oh, you got to look out for your friends because your friends are who matter to you." And she goes over and makes up with her friends, but she doesn't entirely make up with them. But then she goes and gets the guy. Yeah. And I just feel like it could have been left where it was left when she left the restaurant at the end, and that could have been it. And that could have been left open to interpretation of how that went. but then she went and saw her friends and they were, you know, getting back to where they were before again. Because I think that was one of the big, as much as the whole Jared thing was a big thing, the Sean thing was a big thing, I think that group of friends really needed to connect more at the end, personally.
Yeah,
but
no,
that was my only real issue with this movie, I think. Like my real issue with the plot. But yeah, Emma.
Okay. What did you guys think of the Jared thing at the end? I think it was too quick. The bit on the plane, it was like
So
we followed this journey for so long, and the film did feel a bit long, like in my opinion. It was really good, but it was dragging and dragging. And eventually, when it got to that point of her telling him, it was just over in like a second. I felt like no kind of, I don't know, not like gratification, but like no relief or no, like there was no kind of conclusion. Is that the word? I don't know. Apart from him just ignoring her at the airport. It was, I don't know. I just felt that a bit.
I think it was just trying to really bring the point across that he just wanted his dream woman to be exactly the way she pretended to be in order to get him, and that would not budge. Like, it was really trying to do this stereotypical idea that women sometimes have of men, that they only want their ideal woman or nothing else. So he got a bit shafted in that this was resolved a bit too quickly, but it felt the film just really wanted to get going to the last few resolutions, like back to make up with the friends, and then still go and get the right guy, who throughout the entire film, of course, we knew was the right guy. We were just waiting for the stuff to shift. So it's like they could have cut out other stuff in about 2/3 through the film. I started feeling that it was dragging a tiny bit, even though it was still entertaining. But I was like, this film is about 10 minutes too long. And so at the end felt a bit rushed. And I agree with Sophie that for me, friendship is a lot more important than romantic relationships. So I'm a bit biased in that regard. But I wanted there to be a bigger resolution when she makes up with her friends, who went all the way to fucking Mexico and basically sort of broke a few laws by trying to help her out. So, I mean, I wish I had friends that I think I could call and ask to do that with. So her not being...
Bitch, you know we go to Mexico for you.
From here? From London, UK?
Hell yeah.
Road trip with a car? Oh, yeah.
That's pretty much impossible.
Submarine?
From here?
Whatever you want. Just before I know we're going on a tangent and that's absolutely fine, but just before we get on that ship, going back to what Emma was saying about the Jared thing, I think with the plot line, they slightly shot themselves in the foot because they made him unable to move. So we couldn't see any physical reaction to what was happening. And I think that could have been played out better and would have had more gratification if there was some sort of physicality to reacting to that massive thing. You know, he could fucking yeeted down the other end of the plane, and she could have just sat there, and that would have been the realization that she didn't need to chase him, like literally and figuratively, something like that. But, and as you know, as you say, Mel, I think while I'm not biased, I'm not so biased on the whole friendship and romantic relationship thing. You know, I get that you're biased. That's very valid. But I think it made more sense with the plot line of the movie, and especially with those end scenes with the guidance counseling. That would have made more sense. Just in general with this movie.
The friendship
the friendship was the thing that was resolved.
I agree.
I just think it would have fit better with this movie. It doesn't necessarily have to be the thing all the time, but Emma?
From an objective point of view as well,
Sorry, can I go?
Emma?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I agree, you know, when you said about the ending where they should have like ended it at either the friends bit or her leaving the bar. I you know, especially with films like that, and to me this seems to be really important, which I didn't realize before. I feel like you know, her getting the guy would have worked really well as like a credits section. So like when the film ended, I was fully expecting like a halfway credit scene or like
Cut
bloopers
6
or
months
something.
later or something.
Yeah, and I think that would have
cool.
worked better. She would have said, you know, she would have apologized to her friends, had her friends back, and then she would have like spoken to the guy in the bar, and then she would have left, and it would have felt like she's an independent woman or whatever. And then in the credits, we could have seen the scene of her getting with Sean. Is that his name? Yeah, of her getting with Sean. Like, I think that would have worked a lot better than just ending it on Sean. Like, you know.
Yeah, I actually like that. One of the things that I wanted to do, even if they ended the way they did, but you know how Sean was on the blind date with that lady who then walks past on the phone. Why does this keep happening to me?
I cackled at that. It's really bad, but I cackled at that.
It was really funny. But shortly before that, like maybe a minute before, we see that there's like this little bit in the pavement missing, which is why she took a tumble at the start of the film,
And
right?
fell and met Jared.
And fell, and that's how she met Jared, and then everything just happens. So I thought it's like I would have probably let the girl on the phone also take a tumble, and then just goes like, she's gonna meet a guy, you know, just like to bring that story
Like
kind of
pull around, yeah.
Full circle, yeah.
Because it is a comedy and everything can be a bit farcical and ridiculous. I was like, oh, are they going to do that? No, they're not going to do it. But that's what
I just think for the placing of the scene, she just wouldn't have been able to get that close to the hole because they were basically standing over there while they were making out on the street.
She could kind of like give them the evils or something and then go, ah! So I thought, like, one of the things that I really loved about the film, other than the lead actress, who I thought was fantastic, and I hope she's going to do a lot more of these films because she's adorable, cute, and charming, which is why you're with her, even when she's having her moments where she's a bit superficial and, you know, bitchy and whatever it is, like her dark moments, right, that we all have. What I really loved about the film were like the small little running gags, like the little boy that finds her dildo.
Oh, that was so good.
That falls out of her purse when they're in Mexico. And then the little boy keeps coming up again and again. And the mother thinks that that Wes, the lead, that she's kind of like, she's a pedophile and is attracted to her young son. And the son is in love with her because she's gorgeous. And the mother's just like, what the fuck is going on? And this keeps happening, I don't know, like half a dozen times or something. She just keeps falling into this circle of shit. It's absolutely hilarious. I'm such a sucker for these repeated running gags that just keep coming back, which is what I thought maybe Sean falls into this category at first as well. And I was like, oh no, he's going to be the romantic lead. But the stuff with the little boy was fantastic. And Ramon, I think, was the name of the guy who really knew her really well in the resort. So the shit that she does in the resort that basically at the end gets her kicked out. And it's just like, most of the time, it's not even her fault. Like when
well, you know, she's right when she gets put in that taxi when they get kicked out. She's like, it genuinely wasn't my fault. They were like, you made a dolphin climax, and it's like, no, the dolphin was humping her, and it was like it wasn't her fault.
That also felt a bit like a little bit of a PSA scene or something. It's like, just be aware, we get a lot of dolphins in front of the coast of Mexico, and everyone thinks dolphins are cute, but dolphins actually rape humans every now and then. Be aware, because I heard.
I wonder if that's a thing.
No, I heard it in the news before that. Stuff like that happens.
Okay, I guess I'm not going to Cabo anytime soon.
I'm
not anyway, but still.
They're basically doing what the dog does, like they hump your leg, right? That's what the
except it's much more dangerous because dolphins are like the size of human beings.
Exactly, right? It's a bit more problematic. So when he was talking about this is like when a dog humps your legs and stuff, and she's like, no, he's just playing. I was like, no, he's not. But then
he's giving me a hug.
He's giving me a hug. He's just cute.
Right, it's like the dog. It's like Samantha's dog in the Sex and the City movie. That dog literally humps everything.
There you go. And this dolphin the one thing that I really didn't need was the dolphin drive-by.
Oh my God.
Then hits him in the face. I was like,
it's just when you saw the CGI get ridiculous, it was just like, really? Can you imagine being in that room? Can you imagine being the person? Okay, so in the script, so we're just reading it. So,
yes.
Are we reading this right? We've got to CGI a dolphin penis hitting Nassim Pedrad from SNL in the face. Is this my life? I mean, I'm getting paid a lot to do it, but why? Like, genuinely, that's what being one of those people in that room was.
That means you have arrived. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Ladies!
Damn. But no,
Guess what I did today?
it was really funny up until that dolphin drive by. I thought,
yeah, that's a shame. They did kind of push it a bit too far, I think.
But I just loved all the shenanigans that they got up to. It's like, now we're in Cabo. How are we going to find out which of these casas is his? And they're like, well, I'm just going to make 197 roaming calls to like his ringtone. And I was like, how high is your bill?
Like, okay, ladies, you know, whether you're straight, whether you're gay or whatever, no person is worth you spending more than like $20 of your international minutes on. I'm sorry. I just, you know, because that shit's expensive.
Yeah.
And
I would
once
like
they don't pick up, that's your own fault. Like, don't keep ringing after that. Anyway, yeah.
I would like to meet someone that I would want to spend more than that on.
Well, look, we have a sap in the room, Emma.
I am very sappy.
I was gonna ask you guys, what did you think of? I'm so sorry, I can't remember her name. What's the main character's name?
Wes.
Wes.
What a really weird name. That's a guy's name in my experience. That's a guy's name, but it's whatever.
It's like Ashley. Your guys are called Ashley, and I was like, that's not a guy's name. Well, it is in Britain.
I was gonna say, what did you guys think of Wes's kind of like, okay, like at the beginning of the film, I didn't hate her, right? So like she didn't come across as a person that was selfish and whatever and whatever. But by the end of the film, especially the scene in the airport, it was very full on that she was selfish this whole time. And I actually, it kind of hurt me a bit, like in a sense, like the, you know, especially the line when she says, when her best friend says, "You have us, like, is that not enough?" And she's basically like, "No, it's not enough." Like it's like, I couldn't comprehend how selfish somebody could be, but at the same time, I could understand that sometimes like a friendship doesn't give you what like a relationship would, you know, like
family can, yeah.
And like just how sad she was in that moment, and you know, like you don't normally get that in films. In films, it's normally like, yeah, you're right, you are my best friends, blah blah blah. Yeah. But like this, the fact that they just hit it, like, no, it's not enough, you know. And I just thought that was really nice, but also quite sad at the same time. And you know,
that's the thing about her character, and potentially like a lot of especially female characters. This whole thing that that old saying is like, I need someone to complete me. It's like, you don't need someone to complete you. You're already a complete person. You need someone who's as awesome as you, and then you can be twice as awesome together. That's just what a lot of female characters, especially in the media, just fall into, that stereotype. And I'm not sure, maybe that is still very representative of a lot of the female population. I'm not sure. I've not done a study. But I like how you're saying that this is kind of when you started disliking her. Because even though I remember that she had the falling out with her friends near the end, and I thought that was really sad, but I sort of kind of forgot about this particular scene, because while you were saying that, I was like, yeah, that's actually when I started really disliking her and go like, you don't even deserve your two friends, because they've been nothing but awesome to you the entire fucking time. And I that you're probably just like mega hurt at the moment, and people who are hurt say horrible things that they don't necessarily mean. But I was like, it's just, I felt more for the friends than for her, if that makes sense. I felt so betrayed and so sad because of everything that they've done. And this is what my best friend is now telling me, that I'm not enough. Our love for her, our friendship for her is not enough, because she needs a guy, and not just not a really like great guy like Sean, who's really funny and all of that stuff, but
A guy who doesn't even see her as the person she actually is.
Yeah, but that's the problem. It's because she is just as superficial as Jason, whatever. Jared, whatever his name is.
Such a dude bro name.
Yeah, exactly. The bro guy.
I did like it, though. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, to an extent. It's because she didn't give him a chance to actually get to know the real her. So it's like he didn't choose that. So I thought it's like, at first I was, okay, maybe he would actually not be as superficial as we might think he is, but she clearly is, because she doesn't go for lumberjack guy who was trying to help her, right? Trying to get her to the hospital after her fall. She went for model lookalike Jared, and then goes home with him and goes, oh, wow, he has a nice apartment. He travels internationally for work. He must be very successful. Tick, 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 tick. This is the guy that I want. So those were the bits where I sort of started disliking her character a bit, because she was a bit too superficial for me. But then throughout the journey that she
felt she was a little bit pushed into that, though, personally, because of the way she was you could just tell she was desperate for someone to like her and for something to go right in her life, because it had all been going wrong.
But then
so it was slight push in there. But yeah.
But then what was wrong with lumberjack guy? Yes, objectively, not as attractive as Jared, but might have been.
So there is a bit of superficialness there. Emma.
I think I got lost in this whole, like, I think I got lost. So I think I may have missed all of the times that she wasn't herself, because I didn't know that she wasn't being herself. Because, like, there wasn't any.
It was a small scene, to be fair.
Sorry?
It was a smaller scene, to be fair, because it was a montage of just her hanging out with Jared for like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe I missed that. What happened there then? So because I remember the dinner. Oh yes, yeah. The one with
salads and yeah.
It was like there was something I really wanted to try. Whatever it was a hot dog inside a donut or something. I was like, what the fuck? This sounds ridiculous, but I'd try it. And he was disgusted by it, and we're gonna order it. This was a good joke. And then a few other things happened, and I was like, why are you pretending to be someone else and to like different things, to like things you don't actually like just because he likes them? Fuck that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I get what you're saying with the bit. Mel, I do get what you're saying with the bit at the beginning when she met him. But I do think that there was a sense of felt like she was being pushed into doing that because she was just so desperate for someone to like her that.
I think that's
okay. When you've just hit your head and there's this, okay, there's a guy that's a bit further behind her that's saying, we'll get you to a hospital. I'm a first responder, but she's a straight woman. She's gonna get, if there's a beautiful man standing over her saying, "I'm going to be your hero." I mean, I don't know, but you probably would say, okay, I'll go with this guy and not this guy.
You're like, okay.
I didn't read that scene like that at all. I read it more as like a cautious scene. So there's this guy just literally came out of nowhere and said, oh, you bumped your head. I'm a first thingy. Jump in my car. I'll take you to the hospital. To me, that was more like I'm not going to jump in a stranger's car. And I know that this other guy, Jared, kind of did the same thing, but in a less like,
aggressive about it.
Yeah, less aggressive, So that's how I saw it.
That's exactly it. That's a very good point. Because she fell for the better salesperson, for the more charming stranger who might have expertise at getting people to his amazing loft and then dismember him. I mean, he even makes it about, most of the time, I'm not a serial killer or something like that. He says something similar to that.
Okay.
And I was like, I would probably say the same thing because it's a joke. But then you're like, well, is it a joke or isn't it? It was just, it was another sad example for me that people just always go for the superficially more attractive. And it's just a thing. I think that just happens. It's really rare that, I mean, mostly it's actually women that go for the not as good looking guy. It's never the guy that goes for the less good looking woman.
I know.
Stereotypes, right? But it was just very telling. And I thought it was a bit like, it's a shame she falls into that. I don't want to call it trope. I'm not sure if it's a trope, but into that cliche.
Yeah, kind of.
So, and that's, I think, where the first time I was thinking of while you were sleeping. You've both not seen the film, but it literally has a scene like that where it's like, oh, wow, I just hit my head or whatever the fuck happened to Sandra Bullock. I can't remember. And then there's like the pretty guy, and it's like, oh, pretty guy, nice hair, nice smile. Ooh. And that's where it started. And then there's a few other bits throughout the film. But this one was a lot more funnier. Like it was, I loved the slapstick moments. Like I didn't know she was from SNL, but I thought, especially when she's in Mexico and she's trying to get into whatever location it is to get the laptop. Like she's trying to climb a wall and there's an electric fence at the top and she doesn't know it's electrified and she just gets electrocuted and falls back. And it's just, I was laughing my ass off. It was hilarious.
Spanish to learn, kids.
I thought
that was funny. And then there's a few other bits that are like physical slapstick. Like near the end, at the start of the film, one of her best friends has a cat. It gets established, like Kevin the cat. And she crawls up a tree after this fucking cat because she wants to rescue it. It's a cat
in its own garden.
In a tree, in its own garden. And then obviously that goes bad, but it kind of reunites her with her best friend. So it was hilarious. And
also, just a side note, why was it that Brooke was at what seemed to be a valuation by an estate agent on her best friend and best friend's boyfriend's house? It just seems like a bit of a weird thing to be like, hey, best friend, want to come and see my house get valued so we can put it on the market? Well, it just seemed a bit like a weird combination.
They clearly had a dinner date afterwards and she was just waiting for the estate person to fuck off so they can have dinner. They're best friends.
It's a third wheel, yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
But he'd be the third wheel, probably.
The thing about the cat, I just wanted to say that was a line that she says when she falls out of the tree. What the fuck was it? Kevin, you Nazi dick. And
brilliant.
We laugh.
Yeah, Cat has a Hitler mustache. It's just, some cats are unfortunately born with such a defect.
Oh, yeah. That's why...
I had never seen that before. Apart from Grumpy Cat, I'd never seen in my life a great...
Rest in peace, Grumpy Cat.
Like that.
Can you imagine the casting call for that?
Right.
Hey, guys,
your cat needs
we're casting for a movie. Do you have a cat that looks like Hitler? Please and thank you. Phone us here.
Yeah, he looks
I love
a bit
that.
like Hitler. It's so awesome.
Does your cat have a Hitler mustache? Well, he could be a movie star.
Can I just say, it's like all the stuff that included animals, except for the dolphin dick, I thought was hilarious. Later on, her and Sean are in Mexico following some truck.
The bitch-ass goat.
The bitch-ass goat. And all of a sudden, I like the editing here as well, because I was like, oh my God, there's a goat in the road. And then there's a car accident and just everything. And then... fuck you, goat is a bitch, all of that stuff. I was laughing. I was crying with laughter.
Yeah, it's really good.
Really brilliant. And then later on, the stuff with Kevin, the Hitler cat, I was like, yeah, it's brilliant.
Oh, man.
I really enjoyed the film.
It was a good movie. It was one of Netflix's better forays into making comedies, because I remember they did, with another SNL alum, they did Ibiza, which also had Richard Madden in it from Game of Thrones as well. It was it was in 2018 they released it. It was about these girls end up going on a weekender to Ibiza, and they're American, so it makes absolutely no fucking sense why they would go to Ibiza. Like, Ibiza is for annoying British women. Like, I've done it
in general,
and that just wasn't. That just didn't hit it for me. It was poorly reviewed, and it just didn't stick the way that. But this one it was the same sort of thing. It was a trio going to a different place, and it just stuck. It was good.
I have to admit that when I was reading the synopsis that they're going to,
I wasn't convinced
to delete the email. I was like, oh, it's going to be a road trip film with 3 women. That's going to be hilarious. But you're actually not seeing the road trip. They're LA, and then boom, now we're in Mexico.
No more Thelma and Louise, Mel. You can't have it. No more Thelma and Louise.
I don't want bad endings all the time, even though that stunt is kind of cool.
No more road trip films for you.
I like
more
road trip
Thelma.
films, though. All right. So I was a bit disappointed, but then obviously it just takes off in Mexico, and it's fucking funny, and I really loved it. Like I said, there's a few bits in there that I would change or maybe cut out.
There always is in a movie, though, isn't there?
There always is.
It's
Exactly.
it's very rare there isn't.
There's no film, I think, that is perfect. I think there's something in every single film where I was like, I would change this. But I thoroughly enjoyed it from start to finish. I was very well entertained. And considering when I saw the running time, I was like, it's 104 minutes for a stupid comedy. That's really long.
Genuinely didn't notice.
But yeah, again, I also didn't notice, and I was like, oh, this is really good. And the lead is great. All the actors are great. They're really funny. It's also because it's part of in Mexico, it's a bit of a diversity thing. So I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Do you think guys would enjoy this film as well? Like, do you think that the comedy could hit male audiences as well, or do you think it's very much for like women? Because like the other film we saw last week, I feel like that was kind of just for women. Like, I don't think men would have like gelled with that. But like this one, I don't know. You know, like.
I feel like men could, because the slapstick will save it, especially for those annoying juvenile Kyles out there and Jareds and Jasons. They will like that because of the dumbass slapstick. Like, you know, you get a woman getting slapped in the face with a donkey dick. Hell yeah, let me watch that. You know, that's what that would be like.
You know, Emma, if you were still living with Mark, you could go like, Mark, watch this with me, so I can also tell you.
He can just be your male tester for film.
Yeah. Because the cool thing is we can actually get a lot more people on these lives, so we could invite like guests on here to just share their thoughts as well. When I was looking in, it said you can have up to 10 people, so we could have.
Could you imagine?
Anybody y'all want to be on the show?
Drop
us the line. No, but seriously, if you come on season 6. Okay, no, we're gonna stop now. But if you wanna get involved, if you either have a film that you want us to review, if there is a film that you want to talk with us about, so if you want to come on the live stream, you know, we can see whether we can have you up here. That would be awesome. Get a couple more voices in here, because I'm not fed up of my own voice anymore, but I'm sure these are.
Diversity. We're all about diversity.
Yeah.
What was that? That's the rock on sign.
Okay. I don't care. This is me going like #diversity.
There we go.
Stupid people like me who don't know what the fuck they're doing with their
Okay. So if you wanna talk to us, if you want to recommend us a film, then please come along, chat with us, because clearly we like to talk film. We would not be here otherwise. So I believe if there's anything else, ladies, I think we are. I
just wanted to mention something, maybe as a bit of a warning. There's a really fucking disgusting scene in there that made me go, wretch. And it wasn't the thing.
Oh, yeah. I know which one you mean.
There is
literally the Blair.
There is a guy on the airplane. I don't know what class it is.
Oh no, yeah.
Clipping his toenails. And I wanted to clip him with his clippers until he dies.
We do not advocate murder on Women Talk Film. Just as a disclaimer.
I do if they're clipping their toenails on an airplane. It is perfectly fine to murder someone with their own clippers if they're clipping their toenails on an airplane.
Don't get us sued. Please stop.
When I saw that, I was like,
okay. Just have good plane etiquette, kids, especially now that as we are able to travel more and we will be able to get on planes more. Please have good plane etiquette. Come and watch our show next week. We don't know what we're going to be watching yet, but we will let you know before.
We do, because I get to this time. We do. But yeah.
Okay, well.
It reminded me of, you know, how like so many straight women always go like, I hate when my boyfriend, my fiance, my husband clips his toenails in the living room and then he doesn't clean up after himself. He expects me to clean up after him. And I was like,
Are we still going on about the toenails?
Yeah, this really annoyed me.
Okay. We're going to have a talk about the toenails off air because Malcolm Lee has a lot of feelings about this.
You just said that you knew what film we were watching next week.
Yeah. So and then I was expecting an answer, and then you just went back to the toenails.
You just wait. I'm just building anticipation. Just bear with.
Okay, so basically our audience tonight is we are.
Oop, there we go. This is what we next week.
Yes.
Because
I'm so pumped for this. This is what we're going to be talking about next week, everybody.
I was gonna suggest for this week until I found out it only comes out on Friday. And it's Charlize Theron. It's an action film, so I really wanted to watch this. So we're going to be talking about The Old Guard, which is coming out on Netflix on Friday.
Okay, that's our show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are watching not live, thank you so much for watching our videos. We will be back next week watching The Old Guard. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you later.
Feel free to share the video.
Share. Like.
Follow us on Twitter. It's WomenTalkFilm, all one word, with the number 1 at the end.
Because we couldn't get it right.
Yeah, because we're number 1.
On that note, thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much. Tune in next week. Goodbye.
And now we have to figure out how to end the broadcast again.